Wow. What an intro.
There we go. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome indeed. How are you, Mr. Morrison?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Very excited.
Very excited indeed. This is our new rig. This is a thing that me and Lukey have been talking about for a while.
Yeah, quite a while.
About 2 years maybe.
Long enough to be thinking about it.
Longer than me, actually. 16 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm 15.
Yeah. No, you're not. This is about the most exciting Wednesday night's ever got for me.
Wednesday's hump day, so that makes sense.
We're over the hump.
Yeah.
So this is the pilot. This is the pilot of the podcast.
What are you supposed to do on a pilot for a podcast?
Honestly, I don't know. It's like a chat about what's going to happen. Some people have like minute-long pilots. It's just like a trailer.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But
well,
this is going to be better.
yeah, we're going to keep this as long as possible because you guys are going to be enthralled by our content.
Yeah, this is the content to be listening to.
I'm expecting at least an hour and a half of solid content coming out of this pod.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, but still set the expectation.
The expectation, that's it. Okay, well, let's do some introductions. Who are you?
I'm Luke Morrison. It's an important distinction to make. I was born and raised. Well, I was born. Do we get into that in a podcast?
I reckon you get into it.
I was born in New South Wales, raised in Victoria.
Australia, that is.
Australia. I guess you could say my parents became nomads for a little while at the end of my high school and moved around a bit, but somehow I found myself back in Victoria after a stint in Newcastle. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I enjoy coffee. I enjoy
Being a gym rat.
going to the gym, as you can tell by my Gymshark, nothing else, just that.
That's it.
Sponsored, just a kid.
I wish.
Would be
One
nice.
day.
One day.
Gymshark.
But yeah, that's about it for me. What about you? Tell me about your life, Luke.
Well, I'm the other Luke Smith. Haven't really left Victoria for much. 2 years in Newcastle and a year in a caravan with mum and dad. But Melbourne now, obviously. Living the uni life, exactly halfway through a commerce degree at Monash, which is good. Doing a little bit of work, doing a bit of podcasting, playing the guitar heaps, drinking coffee that you make me. Plenty of good things.
It's good stuff.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of similarities in our stories. Nomads, Newcastle.
Well, that's kind of let's have a chat about this, because that's kind of what sparked a friendship at 7 years old.
Yes.
In a tiny little country primary school.
That's true. I believe it was the spirit who told me at 7 years old, that boy there has the same birthday as you. So I went up to Luke and asked him at church, how fitting.
What's your birthday, buddy?
What is your birthday? He said, this day. And I said,
Also this day.
also this day. That's crazy.
Same year.
And we thought we were kidding ourselves for a while.
Nope.
But we are the same day. We're both named Luke.
Same day.
And we both have dad's name Pete, which we can get into in a later episode.
Which we'll get into. Well, we might get into today, but we're going to have a chat with them in later episodes as well.
Yeah.
Probably separately.
Yeah, that's right. Separately. I think.
Yeah. That would be.
You couldn't have them in the same room.
That would be confusing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 2 Lukes and
Maybe
2
you
Petes.
can interview my dad. No, I can interview your dad.
I think something that would be fun is if we put your dad on and my dad on. Don't tell the audience whose dad it is.
And see if they can work it out.
And see if they can work it out at the end of the episode.
Because they're both Pete, so.
Yeah, just hope that our dad doesn't give it away halfway through.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to brief them.
Yeah, brief him a little bit.
Okay.
Make it less natural though, but oh well.
That's all right. Who needs natural?
Yeah, got to be a little bit fake. Yeah, so that's a bit about us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into a chat about the podcast.
Yeah, why did we start this?
The nitty gritty of it.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Well, aside from just wanting to look cool with a pod mic.
Because we do look cool right now. That's
very
clear.
cool.
That's
yeah,
clear.
very cool. We're chasing a bit of advice, I'd say.
Advice and fame, but mainly fame / advice. No, I'm kidding.
70% advice, 30% fame.
Yeah. 80-20 rule. Let's go with the
80-20.
Pareto principle.
Yeah, okay. We'll take that. So yeah, looking for a bit of advice, and I think we've chatted about this a little bit, but this started with our fathers
Yeah. No, it did.
being serial advice givers.
I will say yours especially out of the two of them.
Oh, he doesn't even need to be saying it to his son. Can be
He's given me advice all over the shop. It's great. I love it.
But the distinction is good advice.
Yeah, it's
He's
good.
he's pretty good at it.
It's good advice. Yeah.
And something we haven't mentioned is living out of home now together.
Housemates.
Housemates with a few other boys, and not having those chats with someone wise pretty frequently, and wanting to get back into that, and thinking a podcast is a pretty good way to talk to some wiser people.
Yeah.
And share that, which is, build in public. They always say that. So
Yeah, we basically just want to make more people our dads. We just want.
Kendrick wrote a song about that, daddy issues.
Yeah. We just want to have more conversations with people that can enrich our lives. Basically, we're fortunate enough to have two fathers that were willing to do that. And as I say, like Luke used a good word earlier, then I can't remember it. But serial advice givers, I think, is a good word. It's just if we're ever stuck in a situation, our dads will intervene and give advice, which is nice.
Sometimes unsolicited.
Yes, sometimes
I'll take it.
Yeah, sometimes unwanted, but
That's all right.
But that's the best advice, and we're hoping to share some of that with you guys, not just from our dads, but from all sorts of people.
Hopefully, starting with some really interesting people closely in our lives. Well, I shouldn't hit that. Some really interesting people closely in our lives that we know pretty well.
Yep.
That we want to start with.
Yeah, because we can't just go and get Missy Higgins first podcast.
Oh, my dream's Hugh Van Cuylenberg.
Yeah.
I reckon it's doable. He lives in Melbourne.
We're
He's
pretty
a
much
podcaster.
we're pretty much just talking right through into the into that
space.
Yeah, into that space now.
He's so interesting. He's a sprinter.
Yep.
As a dad, as the Resilience Project.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
Yeah, very smart.
I'd love to interview him.
Very humble too. I like the humility in those two guys, the Imperfects. They're really good guys. If you don't know what we're talking about Imperfects podcast.
The Resilience Project.
The Resilience Project, yeah.
They're also Melbourne based.
Yep.
You, Josh and Ryan. Listen to that.
We love what they do.
We'd love all three of them on the podcast.
Yes.
One day. That's dream. That's the peak.
That would be huge.
That's the pinnacle for me.
That would be huge.
After consuming their content for the last 2 years relentlessly.
Luke is definitely the one who got me into it. He gave me the book. I'm only just getting started myself. But it's good.
And I think, for me at least, with their podcast, that's kind of the format that they have is something that I really like. And we've talked about this a little bit privately about podcasts that we listen to ourselves and the formats that they follow that are interesting and engaging for us. So let's go through a few of them. The Imperfects I really like.
Yep, I love that one.
Ali and Tamor.
Yeah,
not overthinking.
I love, that's probably, for me, that's my favourite format.
They're very conversational.
Because it's just a conversation between two brothers. They're so comfortable.
And they're very good at challenging each other as well, which is something I think we're both good at, but...
maybe not as direct as Tamer, but...
No, but they're also brothers.
Yeah.
Which means you can kind of get away with it because... you can get away with it because it's family.
True.
But, yeah, so there's two formats. I don't know, is there anything else that you frequent that you like? Matt Devella's podcast is just aesthetic.
Yeah, he's lovely. He's got a good thing going.
He's got a good beard.
He does. I think one of the main episodes I keep going back to of his is the one with Chris Backer, the coffee guy, which is obviously what I'd go back to. But that was really quite inspiring for me in just watching the way he learnt to create content. Because I'm not creative myself, I wouldn't say, and so looking at someone who is creative and just spill their guts as to how they create content is kind of nice. But yeah, Matt's good for me as well. A big one that a lot of people listen to and can be controversial is the Jordan B. Peterson podcast.
Yes. He just asks good questions.
Yeah, he does.
And he is like
There's serious knowledge coming out of there.
He's very smart, but he's also very curious.
Yeah.
And he's very quick to admit when he doesn't understand something and he wants to learn more about it from an expert,
Yeah, that's true.
which I admire. I don't agree with him on everything. But
Yeah, we should stipulate that. We don't agree with him on everything.
Plenty of things I don't agree with, but the way that he asks questions and speaks so thoughtfully,
Yeah.
if I could have 10% of that, I reckon I'd be far better off.
Your IQ would just shoot.
The
man's surely got the highest IQ, living IQ. Surely he does.
he's pretty smart.
He's got such a high IQ.
Mm.
But yeah, no, he's very interesting. The other one for me as well that is a little bit quieter of a podcast. My dad got me into it. It's called John Anderson Conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. He's an ex-Nationals member for Australia.
Yep.
Believe he was the Nationals member when John Howard was in.
Oh, okay.
Very, very well-spoken man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't agree with everything he says, quite specifically his beliefs on coal. But he is a very, very wise individual. He is also, he gets some very interesting people on the podcast. I believe Timothy Keller, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Or at least a guy who was mentored by Timothy Keller.
Yep.
He's got some interesting ones on there. But yeah, no, very good. Very good podcast.
Awesome.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a conversation. The other one we like is Armchair Expert, which you got me into.
Armchair Expert. Dax and Monica are amazing. They're
With
very
Dax Shepard and Monica Padman.
good. Yeah. Monica Lily Padman.
Beautiful Monica.
They're like good interviewers. And
Yeah.
the way that Dax especially tells stories,
Yeah, no, very sure. Very much.
especially relatable stories, because it feels like he has a story for every guest.
so. Literally.
And he's lived a somewhat crazy life. But
For sure.
the way that he can relate a story to a guest
Yeah, no.
and make that personal is pretty incredible.
I think they're both very smart too. In that,
They're both very intelligent.
very
aren't
intelligent people. Like they have conversations with intellectuals.
they? And keep up.
The one I really liked was watching them talk to Paul Bloom, and that's when you really go, "Oh my goodness!" Like these guys are on another level.
Yep.
Because they're talking to one of the world's best clinical psychologists. I think. But he's good. He's renowned.
Yep.
And they're able to keep up with him on deep levels of conversation that I would just never be able to interact with at all. So
That's good from Hollywood.
kudos to them. Yeah. That is good
Kudos
from
to them.
Hollywood.
Okay, well, we've outlined what we like.
Yep.
And what we're going to have a chat about. Should we talk about the name that we've got? Not bad, better.
Not bad, better.
There's a comma in there. Not bad, comma, better.
Yeah, we should enunciate that.
Yeah. What do we think about the name? We're set on it, so we're not changing it.
We're not
at this
changing
point.
it.
We like it. Do we want to have a chat about a bit of the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What it means?
We actually did think pretty deeply about our name, which I think is a good thing. I see a lot of people say your podcast name matters. You don't want to be changing it halfway through.
Thomas Frank did that.
Yeah.
College Info Geek podcast to the Inforum.
He did. And Ali Abdal changed Ali Abdal's second channel's name. It went from Ali's Appendix to Ali Abdal Vlogs.
But they're big. They've both got over 3 million
They've
subs.
got the ability
so they
to
can
do that. But I just don't think personally...
Don't know that we're going to get there very quickly.
I don't think we're going to get there that quickly.
No.
And
that's all right.
And also, I just think that if you stick to a name...
It makes the content stick together in one cohesive...
Well, yeah. It's just like a branding, right?
Mm.
Like, I remember my grandpa once had a conversation with me about branding. He's another fella that you can just talk to about any subject.
Yep.
And he just said to me, you think about all these car brands specifically, which ones have held the best line of branding? And he's listing off like Toyota, Holden, Ford. Like, they haven't changed their car branding for years. And then you've got Mazda, which has changed it like a fair bit.
Yeah.
And you've also got Kia. They've changed it. And he's like, you see, those brands lose their identity. Like, Kia's now known as a luxury more luxury brand than it ever has been.
Yeah.
I don't know much about cars. It's just when you watch their ads, they're definitely appealing to a luxury market, and they used to appeal to the people who can't afford a Hyundai or don't want to afford a Hyundai market.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that and to see how branding can play such a key role in your brand's distinction from everyone else.
Mm. So what's the force behind not bad, better?
Not bad, better.
And why have we chosen that? Would you like to riff on that, or would you like me to have?
I reckon you have a crack.
Well, I think for both of us at age 19, we're allowed to say that. We're allowed
Bleep
to say
that
that.
out. No, I'm kidding.
At age,
no, I'm kidding.
At age, you guess. Both uni students, both looking at life, thinking, it's not bad, but could definitely be better. Could definitely be better in areas where we've got the basics covered.
For sure.
I can read and write. Don't know about you.
For sure.
But looking for higher level thoughts and concepts, a bit of wisdom from people that are smarter than us, and going, how are we leveling up kind of to the next stage in life?
Yeah.
With, how many years of uni have you got left? You've got 3.5.
I've got tons. Yeah.
I've got 1.5 years left of uni.
Lucky you.
So what can I take into a workforce and into a life as what I would deem a fully fledged adult? Don't really feel like a fully fledged adult at the minute, still as a student. So how can it be better, I guess?
Yeah, it's a question we'll unpack right across this podcast. We'll be looking at being better in multiple facets.
Yeah.
I'm thinking specifically the different facets of spirit, emotion, physical health. To be a better 20-year-old.
Oh, well, you hear 20-year-olds get absolutely dunked on by everyone. 20-year-olds are useless. They don't work. They don't all that. And this isn't a pity party, but there's part of that that's true. There's part of that is needing to be, I'm not looking at, working 70-hour weeks like most people were at my age 60 years ago.
No, yeah. My mom and dad tell me about getting on a train for 2.5 hours to get to uni. And I'm like, that is something that I would never do at all. I would never even consider doing that. So when I hear that, definitely makes me feel a little bit more humble.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is technology's changed, but also part of that is, there's less willingness to take on advice from people our age at the minute.
Yeah.
Not at the minute, but it certainly feels like there's areas in my life where I could be a lot more open to receiving probably some fair criticism, but also just some advice that is broadly applicable to a lot of people, and then you can take that and apply it to your own life in areas that you see fit. I think that's really what we're trying to get at, is getting some high-level, generalised advice that kind of transcends what you do, transcends where you live and what you believe in. It's kind of stuff that's applicable to various parts of your life.
Yep.
And various lives for different people.
Yeah. So one thing I've heard a lot is be content, not comfortable. I could cite the quote,
but I'm not going to.
I could. I would love to hold it as my own. I will say it's not my own. I'll say I've heard it from somebody else, Tom Koppock, but I know that it's not his own either.
Yep.
It's a great way of thinking though.
Yeah. You can't beat yourself up over life, can you?
No, you can't be ashamed or depressed in your situation if you live in Australia and you have a job. And
apart from clinical depression, of course, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But as in, you cannot be, I think from my standpoint, in my situation, I can't be down and out about where I'm at in terms of my living situation. It's pretty good. We might not be living on $1 million income, but we're definitely living, and that's a really good start. And we're living with a group of boys that we love. And so we can't complain. No. So we can be content with that. But I think we can't be comfortable.
No.
with who we are and where we're going. Because as soon as we get comfortable, we get stagnated and we stop moving. And I think that's something important to take forward into this podcast is we don't want to stop moving.
No, and I think it's, if you don't keep moving, you're just going to go backwards. Right? Everyone else is going to keep moving forward, and everyone else is going to keep working harder. So maybe that's wrong. This isn't exactly about working harder. This is about becoming better people.
Yep.
In a range of areas that's going to help us regardless of what we do.
Yeah.
Whether I want to continue with a commerce degree or whether I want to pursue professional bocce. I don't know.
Did I just hear the College Dropout Volume 2?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Imagine.
Except this time it's not rap, it's instrumental guitar.
Watch out, Kanye. But yeah, it's something that is like, regardless of what you're going to do in life, this is probably advice that we're chasing for everything.
Correct.
And it's probably applicable. That's also the thing that we've talked about is it's stuff that's going to be applicable to everyone.
Yep.
You've just got to find how it applies for your life. Some of that's going to be pretty obvious, especially for us, and some of it might require a bit more reflection, but that's what we're aiming to do with our interviews. And then we're going to have chats every second week, interviews every second week, and then on the off weeks, we're going to have a little chat, a little bit of a catch up, and a little bit of a chat about what happened last week and how we're working on that conversation.
Yeah, and we might make these a bit more fun.
Yeah, and what we've been reading, we've talked about as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
We might
come across.
We might make them a bit more fun as well. Bring on board some people we know.
Not insightful people like on the other weeks.
Not smart people. We're going to bring on dumb people that make us look better.
Maybe we'll get people that have also listened to the podcast. Maybe we'll get young people reacts.
Oh.
How's that for an off-the-dome idea?
Yeah, especially when we've got such a large breadth of an audience. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, especially with the amount of friends we have. So many friends. So many.
To be fair, we are huge friends people.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm kidding.
Massive extroverts.
But we are. But yeah, we'll get some people on the podcast, like our housemates, for example, that you can meet and greet and learn a bit about because they're great people and it'll be nice to talk to them on here.
They are.
Ben and PK.
Ben and PK.
So
okay. Let's talk about what have we got here?
We drew up some rules earlier.
And we're going to call them not bad rules.
Not bad rules to have.
Rules that we can call each other out on as well.
That's correct.
I feel like.
Oh yeah, especially the first one with you, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. So number 1.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. That's self-explanatory, but no wild stories from you, buddy.
We got to bring in Trump's truth social media. No, I'm kidding.
Fact-checking everything.
No, but yeah, we do want to be as truthful as possible. We want us to be a credible news source for you. No, I'm kidding. But we do want to be credible, yeah.
And that's the thing, you do any time you're putting something out there, you're open to all sorts of criticism, and rightly so.
For sure.
Because
we're putting it out
that
there.
criticism keeps things in check.
That's correct.
So we're going to endeavour to steer clear of that criticism
by using Google.
By citing. But that being said, let's be politically correct, all right?
Yeah, that's...
With regards to the truth.
We do want to be politically correct to some degree.
To some degrees.
We don't want
We're
to
not going to go full Jordan Peterson with some of his not politically correctness.
No. We want to stand within a good merit where we can sit between both sides of politics and conversate.
Yeah, and see both sides.
We don't want to bring politics into this at all.
No.
That's one thing. I mean, you might find out about our political opinion somewhere down the track because what's the bet we're going to talk to Ben Shapiro? But
don't know that's going to happen, buddy.
But it's still good to steer clear of breaking down either side of the political spectrum.
Yeah, and that's not what we're going for. We're going for, ideally wisdom and advice that we're chasing is above that.
That's correct.
And is above other such petty things that are not, that don't relate. So we're going to steer clear of that.
Yeah.
What's the next one there?
Be curious.
Be curious.
Took me a while to read the writing.
Curious that's your writing there.
I know. That's why I said it.
Little story time with Luke. My grandfather, who we may or may not have on the podcast, is about the most curious person I know. He will ask questions about everything. He's a very, very smart man. Extremely smart.
One of the smartest.
Yeah, and I marvel at some of the things he understands. But I think he gets that from asking questions. It's like so many questions. If he doesn't understand something, he doesn't pretend that he knows and go along with that. He just asks.
Very
humble man as well.
I believe some of the wisest people are the ones that ask questions. One of my closest friends, who again we may or may not have on this podcast, he is very good at asking questions. We had a class last year where the teacher would ask him to stop asking questions because he just constantly asked questions. And they weren't stupid questions. They were always interesting, analytical, deep thinking questions that were important. And he just had lots. He always found, and I think that's one of the things that they say. Samuel Suresh, he wrote that in one of his videos. He said, the problem isn't finding answers, it's asking more questions. Or I'm misquoting, but something along those lines.
Yep.
We've got to find the questions before we can get the answers.
Yep, exactly. Okay, here's the next one. Post weekly.
Definitely going to happen.
Yep. So I think the model that we're going to follow for now is a bit of a by season model.
Yep.
So it's currently the 29th of June.
Bleep that out. I'm kidding.
We're going to bleep that. No. So this is probably going to come out in a little while. After we've had some interviews to kick us off.
Yeah. Hopefully we've got two interviews done by the time we release it.
So there we go.
I reckon we can get 2 done.
Yeah. So try and post weekly, and then we'll have a bit of a season, and then we'll have a bit of a little break after the first season.
Not huge breaks, but just
some time to
breaks.
Reflect and reassess, I think.
Correct.
Because everyone needs that. But during that time, we'll post weekly, and like we mentioned before, we'll try and follow the model of an interview and then a chat, and then interview, chat.
Yep.
Bit serious and a bit lighthearted.
That's correct.
We can do both.
Yeah, as you can tell. Okay.
The next rule that we have is read books. I'm guilty of not doing this at times.
So am I at the moment. It's been a long drought of reading for me.
What are you reading at the minute?
I just started Resilience Project.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's given it to me for my birthday, and I've been staring at it on the bookshelf for weeks, maybe months, definitely months.
Yeah, possibly months.
And I've just read the first chapter. It's a very heavy first chapter. That's why I had to put the book down. Just thought maybe I should sit on it after that chapter. But it's good. I've been reading a lot of audiobooks lately.
Yep.
I haven't been reading physical books.
Just been taking it in at 3x speed.
Yep, been grinding it in at 2 times speed.
2 times?
Yeah, what about you?
Currently reading the Bo Miles book, actually. Local boy, Jindovic.
Yes, Gippslandian.
Yeah, so Bo Miles, I, for the life of me, cannot remember the actual title that he has there.
Probably doesn't matter as much as what's inside.
Yeah, but it's his only book. He is an outdoorsman, but he's an adventurer. Like, his YouTube videos are incredible. The man, like, makes a video. His recent one, which I actually haven't watched because it came out yesterday, I think, is he went out into the bush to find his cameraman's wallet that they dropped on the video. And so he made a 20-minute video about that.
That's awesome.
And about all the fun he had along the way.
That's so good.
His book is in that vein. He's documenting his adventures and going a bit deeper into them. So you get kind of the surface level stuff in his videos, which are about half an hour long kind of movies. But he's going right into the deep stuff. Like, where is his mind when he's, hasn't seen another human for 3 days and he's been out on a kayak going around the tip of Africa. And he's camping on his own and like he's just hasn't seen anyone and he's alone. What's happening in his head then?
Yep.
And that's pretty cool because he breaks down the struggle of adventure, which is good, but he also, builds up how good it can be and what it can do for you and how it can change you.
He's from Monash as well, isn't he?
I'm not sure if he's still there. He has lectured at Monash, and I think he was writing a PhD there.
Oh,
Um,
love to see it.
I haven't got to that part in the book to see if he actually finished his PhD or if he's still going. Wildly fascinating man though.
Mm.
Put him on the list.
He's
Put that on the
definitely on our list. If Bo can come in any minute now, that would be great.
He could probably run here. Cool. So read books, and the other one that I need to start is, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen
Yes.
Covey.
Very known book.
I have got a little bit into the first chapter, and I've put that down for something slightly easier at the minute because I started it during the uni semester, and it is a heavy book.
Oh, really?
There
you
quite
go.
technical in parts, so
I see. Yeah.
I want to take that one a bit slower.
Yep.
Apparently quite a good book, one that my father rabbits on about.
No, it's apparently one of the best first ever self-improvement books, or one of the first known about self-improvement books.
Yeah.
That one and the one, what was the one I got Steph for her birthday?
How to influence people.
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's it.
That's another popular one that I haven't gotten to yet.
Yep.
Those two are great.
Yeah.
A modern day classic that we love is Atomic Habits.
If you haven't read Atomic Habits, you're not living.
That's true. Or you're not
opinion.
living effectively.
James Clear is like, that's a book that I will continue to reread.
Yeah, no, same. I've read it twice now, and it's definitely worth a second go.
Yeah, he's a smart man.
Yeah, no, I got it on audiobook now as well, on Audible, because
It's the morning routine. Get up and listen to that.
Yeah.
Once through.
Yeah, listen every morning.
Every morning.
It's my new.
Meditate on it.
Yeah.
Any more on books?
Just one I'm reading at the moment. Why We Sleep. I can't remember the author's name.
Oh, yep. You're testing me.
I can pull it up. Why not bring the phone into this conversation?
Why We Sleep. Oh.
It's quite a popular book at the moment, and I believe Tim Ferriss is reading it. And believe it or not, Tim copied me. I only found out he was reading it I didn't find out until after I read it.
Oh,
Started reading it. Matthew Walker.
Matthew Walker. I would not have guessed that.
I'm about, I don't know how many hours, but I've got 10 hours left. So I'm a fair while away. I think I'm about halfway through. Oh, no.
Are you sleeping better?
A quarter of the way through. Well, I did try one thing that the book suggests, which is the afternoon siesta.
Ooh, okay.
Something that you love.
Oh, I'm good at it. I'm very, very good at it.
I did it once when I was fully sleep deprived, and successful would be the least effective word I could use there, because I had about 3.5 hours sleep.
Then didn't sleep.
Actually, that's kidding. 4.5 hours sleep.
Oh.
I did sleep that night as well, but it was just more the fact that it went on for a lot longer than I.
Does he recommend like half an hour or something? Is that optimal?
I think it's just in your downturn.
Okay.
I don't think he says a specific time, or at least where I'm up to, he hasn't. I think it's just an hour during your mood downturn, because you have one. Everyone has one.
In the afternoon-ish.
Yeah, in the afternoon, 3 to 5, you'll have one.
On average. Yeah.
On your, what do they call the cycle? Name evades me, but yes.
Yep.
On that cycle.
We've all had it. We've all been in English to finish the day at school on a Friday afternoon and had to get through it.
Yes. I find it particularly when I just stop at about 3 to 4. If I keep going, then I probably won't feel it until about 5. But if I stop, it's game over.
Yep.
It's game over.
Well, it's afternoon siesta time.
It is. Well, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm generally at work or doing something. So I'm trying to pick that up a bit as a habit.
Yep. Right. You've got to get onto that next dot point now. We've got 2 to go.
Oh, we do.
And I can't read the next one. You've got
I'm so good at writing, aren't I? So good he cannot read it.
Stay curious.
Stay informed.
Oh, informed. Oh, read the news, kids.
Yeah, I think that's something we both might be good at.
I'm not bad at it, but there's definitely things that escape me.
For sure.
I read the news that I want to read. That's probably it.
I think one about the last week has been bad for me. I'm normally one that wakes up, gets the Age open, gets the Herald Sun open, gets the ABC open, and compares. No, I'm kidding. But I get my favorite preferred news app open, and
I
I
will not disclose that.
it is the Age, only because it's aesthetic.
Right.
But I get the Age open, and I read a couple of articles, mainly just informing articles about something that's going on.
Yep.
Generally about
Housing crisis.
politics,
Yep.
housing crisis, something along those lines.
Stock market bubble.
Something really sad that's depressing.
Yep. You'll never be able to afford a house. Those kind of articles.
Those kind of articles.
Nice, nice.
And then I turn it off, and I cry, and I make my morning coffee.
Exactly.
It's so funny. Like, I listen to this podcast. I think you guys might, probably a lot of people listen to it. It's called The Daily Oz. Have you heard it?
I haven't.
It's just a news podcast. It's great. I really enjoy it because it just gives you like a really quick news fix in the morning. But whenever they go through the daily news, it's just always depressing after depressing, and there's no reprieve. And I find that with all news, like if you just listen to it, you really realize, like when you're reading it, it's a different story. But when you listen to it, you're like, oh my goodness,
Scary news sells.
this is bad. Yeah.
Yep.
Like we hear so much negativity.
Yeah, it's constant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good to get away from it though,
Yeah.
when you can.
No, I definitely made the mistake of doing it after a really bad shift at work.
Not fun.
And I came home and I was just fully depressed.
Bad mood
I
time.
sat in the car for 20 minutes just to cool off.
Yep.
Just because the news just added to my madness.
Yep. Yep.
I was so angry.
Mm.
But yeah, don't listen to the news all the time.
Well,
Like, stay informed.
Do you think we live in a generation that's like far less? We consume so much more content than everyone else, but
Yeah.
we don't read traditional news. Like,
Yeah.
if something big has happened, I go to Twitter.
No, for sure.
And that's just, people are going to be talking about it and you're going to get a whole heap of opinions, but you can find...
The videos that go with it.
Yeah, and you can find the actual source of news there.
Yeah.
But if something is significant enough to be trending on Twitter, then that's kind of like my sounding board for do I actually want to investigate this. Like, even...
Millennials.
there's the stuff with Lewis Hamilton at the minute, which is kind of... There's the stuff with Lewis Hamilton at the minute. It's kind of small.
F1 driver.
Yep, F1 driver, and a bit of racism that's going on there, sadly. And quickly,
Mm.
I saw something on Instagram, just a statement. And I didn't keep looking on Instagram. I just went straight to Twitter. What's happened? Figure out quick enough that there's this old white guy being a racist, and that...
You sound better than 95% of the population, though.
What do you mean?
Most people will just keep going on Instagram. I think that's
you don't
one thing.
You don't get written opinions on Instagram.
No,
Because
exactly.
it's all just... The only thing that rises to the top on Instagram is Reels.
Yeah,
Is Reels
and
the
those
video.
swipe across stories.
Yeah, and stories, yeah. But
Those-
even like photo carousels, they don't do that well anymore because Reels has just taken over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was
I didn't
listening
even
to
know that.
who was that? I was listening to I saw something that Aaliyah, that British YouTuber posted. He's talking about someone had just asked him, it was on a Q&A, it was like, do you enjoy Reels? He's like, no, I hate it because it takes, not that he hates it, but it takes over the popularity of just posting photos. And he's a photographer.
Mm.
And his
And-
feed is still just photos. Like, he takes all with the same color grading,
Yeah.
nice, good photos, and I appreciate that. But that doesn't
Puts an
rise-
Instagram filter on there.
well, I think he uses Lightroom. He sells Lightroom presets, like
Definitely
every other
use
content
Instagram.
creator.
Yeah.
But his comment was it was very brief, but he's just saying it's hard with Reels and video because that content rises to the top.
Yeah, it's the separation of content's getting smaller and smaller. Like, I find it so interesting that we see Instagram on Facebook now and Facebook on Instagram.
That
like that
annoys me.
to me is just annoying. It's just
I don't like it.
can we please not merge the platforms and keep them separate? There's a reason why they're separate.
Keep them sacred.
They've gotta be
one's
somewhat
for the old people, one's for the young people. Is that right?
We won't say which one's which, but
Yeah, exactly.
there should be some level of proprietary.
Well, it's just all owned by Mark.
Yeah, it is. It is all
Yeah,
owned.
that's the show.
All run by Mark, but the whole thing with these reels on Instagram, I mean, yes, I understand why Instagram's done it. It's because TikTok's getting real nasty and it's getting real big, and they wanted to, get a
Compete.
little bit of that love, wanted to get a little bit of that moolah, but definitely has I guess I can see how it's overtaken Instagram.
But it's all just kind of useless content, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's not informative, and that's where it goes back to that piece of I'm not going to look on Instagram for news, am I? Because Twitter's got written word comments, which as misleading as they can be and as far-fetched as they can be.
You can read the comments.
You can read the comments, and you can actually read links to news articles, whereas I feel like the only thing you see on Instagram is just, people doing dances, which I hate.
Yep.
Makes me want to use Instagram less.
My girlfriend's definitely a victim of the reel. She sends me about 15 reels a day. That's a joke, but I don't use Instagram direct message anywhere near the normal level.
No.
Because I just hate it. I hate swiping across and reading messages. It gives me anxiety. I really don't like it. Like, it genuinely does. I just don't like answering people on there. I don't know even why I reply to stories, because once I've replied,
You have to have a conversation.
I won't message back like for 2 days. Because I don't know why. It just gives me anxiety. If someone messages me, like texts me, I'll reply back. But on Instagram DMs, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Anyway, she sends me about 1 million videos on there, 1 million reels.
She loves them.
And she just expects me to reply.
And somehow is still the most productive person that we both know.
She's insanely productive.
But can still watch reels.
I don't know.
And bake. Bakes by Esther. At Bakes by Esther.
We'll bleep that out. I'm kidding.
No, we won't. That's
paid sponsor.
That's paid sponsor. fueling our diet.
She hasn't agreed, but
okay, it's not a paid sponsor.
It is a paid sponsor.
Shout out.
It's a paid sponsor.
She can pay us in cupcakes.
Yeah. But yeah. No, that's an interesting thing to talk about. Staying informed.
Okay.
Our final one.
Last one. Learn. I feel like that's a given, but help others learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the essence of the podcast.
Yeah, it is.
May as well learn good stuff from wise people and pass it on.
Yeah, no, this topic, again, bringing it back to our main idea, is we want to ask people, what would you do if you were in your 20s? And how would you act if you were in my position in your 20s? So we really want people who are similar ages to us, maybe even older.
Yeah, we want people that have lived it, I think.
Yeah, we do want older people as well, but we just want people to learn off experts.
Yeah, and I think everyone has that bit of advice. If I was younger, if I could go back, if I could do it all again. So we're just going to try and collate some of that.
For sure. It's never too late to improve yourself either. If we get some oldies, that would be awesome.
Well, and I think that comes back to also, I was saying before about this being high level stuff. It's not actually tied to a specialty or a stage of life.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuff that we're going to hear from people that kind of describe it based on their specialty and where they are in their journey. But it's stuff that we'll be able to pull out and apply to areas of life. And, an economist talking about logic and reasoning can be applied to someone in their 20s starting out in a new relationship with someone. Logic and reasoning when you're communicating with someone effectively, nothing to do with economics.
There you go.
There you go. There's an example.
That's a great example. I think that's a really good way to put it. I think as well, just thinking about it as learning and helping others learn, just having clarity in this podcast is going to be really important. I think one thing me and Luke are going to try and do is break down things into, that simple application of how do I do this? How do I go about doing this?
Yep.
You've told me this person has done this and that's cool. And they know about this, blah, blah, blah. But how do I go about applying this to my life? And so hopefully our fortnightly chats are going to really give you that application of it, where we're going, this is what we're doing, and it's not working, or it is working, and we can maybe give you a head start on learning what does work, what doesn't work, or have an idea of what might work for you. So
Completely agree.
Okay,
I think that's
our 10 commandments / not bad rules to have.
And there's only 2, 4, 7 of them.
7 commandments.
Yeah.
7 rules for highly effective people.
Yeah. 7 rules for life.
Yeah.
12 minus 5 rules for life.
I've just misquoted a million things there. That's awesome.
Yep. Stephen Covey, Moses, and Jordan B. Peterson.
Jordan B. Peterson.
You've got it down pat. Okay, I think that's it.
That is it.
That's it. This will come out at some point.
Yep. There might be a few cuts because my mic did drop.
Going to be a lot of cuts, and we're going to learn about it, and we're going to learn how to edit audio and some video. This is going to go on YouTube. This is going to go. We're going to cut some up and put it on Instagram, hopefully.
Yeah, some Instagram reels.
No, not reels. We're not going to do reels. We're just going to do video. No, we are. We're going to do some. You got to push the content.
We've got to push the content. We're going to do some YouTube shorts.
Yeah, but you can. I don't know. You could be watching this on YouTube. This could be on your podcast player. So we are not bad better everywhere. We're not bad better at Gmail if you .com.
If you want to hit us up.
Hit us up.
Yeah, because we can't be bothered paying for a domain name.
Not yet, anyway.
Not
until we've started possibly.
We want you guys to give us moolah first.
We're not bad better on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course in your podcast player. So follow along, I guess. This is the beginning.
Yeah. No, well said.
It's not going to be a peter out. Won't be a peter out. In the words of Hamish
and Andy. Yeah.
Exactly. They love a peter out.
Well, thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Hopefully with our very own
with our guest.
Our very own interview guest.
We can't wait. Well, have a lovely night and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.